So I'm Anthony, co-founder and CEO of Liteflow, and I say GM to my team this morning before leaving them and flying back. So that's the most Web3 thing I did this morning.
Oh, hi everyone, I'm Flavien from the Blockchain Game Alliance, and super happy to kickstart this podcast and this video series with you today called Metaverse Odyssey. And I'm super pumped to have our first invite for today, which will be Anthony, CEO and co-founder of Liteflow. How are you, Anthony?
Pretty good, pretty tired after this whole week of conference, but really excited with all the things that are coming.
Yeah, part of the Metaverse Odyssey is actually to capitalize on the fact that we're traveling all across the globe to find what's new in the Web3 ecosystem. And we are in Singapore for Token 2049, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, why are you and why we are. But before that, we'd love to have a little bit of intro. You already did, but about Liteflow, what it is, and what kind of solution you're actually bringing.
Yeah, so Liteflow, we've been in the space for the past 10 years and really the past 5 years with Liteflow to really actually help businesses to build into Web3, to actually have access to tools for tokens, for NFT, for engagement, and basically giving them the whole tool suite they need to really go to market fast and really basically success in the development of their product or their game or pretty much anything that can relate to Web3.
How long have you been working on this product?
So this is like 5 years of work with different stages, I would say. We had to adapt basically to the market conditions, adapt to the market trends as well. But yeah, 5 years that we are running this with directly live with some customers. We are fully working self-funded, helping businesses basically grow, and that's how we grow as well.
I guess 5 years in the Web3 ecosystem, it feels like 15 years, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe make it 20 even.
20, okay, great. So as I said, we are in Singapore for Token 2049. For me, one of the best conference we could see in terms of the conference itself, but the side events as well. So we'd like to have obviously your opinion about also the reasons why you are here as the CEO of Liteflow, what you try to achieve, and one of the feedbacks you got, I'm not going to talk about that, but just saying that we are at the end of Token 2049 in Singapore. So what will be your takeaways about you being here after the whole week in Singapore?
Yeah, so one of the main reasons is, I guess, like a lot of us here, networking. So trying to meet new people, new partners, new clients. One of the big part that I know, especially in Token, I really enjoy is the fact that it's a good place to reconnect with everyone, you know. Yeah. Everyone is flying for this conference, so you meet all the clients that you have for years even, and it's a good time to catch up with them, to meet them in real life, which make a massive difference in terms of relation building with the people you work with. So yeah, for me it's really the main opportunity is really to actually reconnect with all the clients and partners that we have some good time with them, try to explore how we can work together more, how we can help them more. And after, generation of new leads, talking with new people, trying to explore new opportunities.
So it's not really a Web3 thing, it's one of the biggest conferences in the world, and everyone is going there. And for you as obviously a CEO, so a business owner, you feel like you need to meet people personally, even if we are in the Web3 metaverse ecosystem, you feel like you need to see people to do business with them.
Yeah, Web3 or not, this doesn't really matter. It's just how you run a company and how you manage your clients and your partners. And of course, if you can, you have to meet them as often as possible. So like that, you really create a good relationship with them.
Cool, awesome. So you said 5 years building the product, obviously pivoting, depending on what's happening in the market. So it's still not easy to explain what is Web3 to all the different industries, but it's been 5 years. What do you see in terms of the adoption of the technology with the developers you're actually talking to, because you're helping developers, brands? What do you see?
One thing that I see, and I'm really hopeful for next year and the following years, is that people stop to talk about Web3. Really. They are like, yeah, no, we need to do something Web2, and why do we even call it Web2? We never called it Web2 before. So they start to see okay, no, Web3 is just one thing that you can plug in, but it doesn't need to be your whole product. It doesn't need to be your whole experience. and more you see games or applications that are really like easy to get in. Users don't even know it's Web3, don't even know about blockchain, don't even know about wallet and all that. And I feel we are finally getting there, where it's not like one or the other. It's really like, okay, you have this application, you deliver a service, a product, some value to your user, and Web3 makes sense to integrate. Then you integrate it, and your user don't see anything. So there's still a long way to go, but you can find some product out there, some application out there that you honestly need to dig like really deep to find the Web3 component aspect. And it's great. Nobody should have to know about Web3. At least that's my take. It's like Web3 is something that you should only have it for the value that it brings for the user, not for the whole like, hey, blockchain is cool and all that. People don't need to know about that. And I feel we are getting there, especially with the whole gaming part that start to be like a lot like friendlier, I would say, to use. So definitely in good direction.
Okay. Like we know each other a bit, and I know that obviously you are the CEO, co-founder, but also pretty much involved in the product itself. So how being very much involved in the product side of it, but having to sell it at some point, how do you manage to do that, like the product part and the selling part as a CEO?
It's definitely tricky, especially when you come from the product. I started my own career with like doing product, building actually the product for the different startup I worked on and all that. So tricky to let go, but at some point you realize that the product is just one part of the business, and it might not even be the most important part. Like building all the relation with the people, meeting the people, trying to really engage with them, to make them understand why they need a product, why they need to be in the space, why they need all that. Also kind of like advisory parts, I would say. It's something that provides a lot more value than the products. And then you actually hire people that actually help you to do that. And you have to rely on your team for that. So I know on myself, like I don't actually get involved in the product anymore. I'm like kind of like really step down for that. So like that I can focus on the rest, starting to work more in terms of like advisory for some projects. So it's a different type of job, but in the end it's like you are kind of like in daily communication with people, which is good because when you work on product, usually you are in daily communication with your computer, which is not necessarily the most entertaining, I would say, and exciting part of the job. But yeah, it's a balance to have. I think you still need to be connected to the product to understand what happened, to really see like, okay, are we going in the right direction for like this long-term vision that maybe the dev team doesn't have or things like that. But you really need to see how a product can actually impact basically all the discussion you have with the client, and the same all the discussion you have with the client, how this can actually impact the product. So having actually both sides of the roles basically, it's actually really interesting, so that I can actually connect really the two parts really tightly together.
And I guess because we are at the beginning of everything, education is a big part of what you try to do as well. Advisory, but also educate about not only Liteflow and what you do, but the big picture of Web3. I guess that's something you still need to do right now.
Yeah, still definitely a lot of education to have, especially with some kind of like large brands that start to get into the space, that they are like, okay, that's interesting, but we are afraid that we have some issues with like in terms of legal, but also more like in terms of community, that people are not necessarily like really happy with Web3, especially I'm thinking in the gaming industry. Some players are like, no, we don't want Web3, because also companies are pushing Web3 way too hard. So there is a lot of education on like how you can actually present that to your user base in a way that makes sense, and also how you can actually integrate that in your product or your game in a way that makes sense as well, because there is still a lot to do on that part.
Yeah, definitely. So trying to be immersed in the kind of the topic metaverse, Web3 and everything, if you imagine that you have Anthony today going back to the past and meet the Anthony 7 years ago, starting the business, what would you say to the Anthony before? What would be the advice you could
Run away.
Run away.
Now, one of the biggest advice I would give me would really to actually focus on the customer's part, on really like doing like a bit more like business development, really talking with different partners and all that, and really focusing on that earlier on. rather than the products. I feel like I was like spending a bit too much time in terms of products, where I couldn't actually focus as much as I should in terms of like, relationship in general. That's something that's took me a bit of time to kind of like figure out. And yeah, that's something that's add a lot of value, and the earlier you do it, the better it is, basically.
You're not doing so bad because you're part of the Blockchain Game Alliance, who was supposed to talk about that, but which means you understand the value of the network and try to be involved in many ecosystems you could be. Also OMA 3. So yeah, definitely see your point on that. Talking about Blockchain Game Alliance I'm a part of, why do you think gaming might play a role, maybe a big role, in the adoption of Web3?
I think the part with game that's regardless Web3 or Web2 or whatever, it actually brings people, it actually like kind of like educate them in a way. Like a lot of skills that you earn in life are actually from games, either like management game to, I don't know, manage your football team, or like reflex games, or just like action games where like, okay, you need to have some strategy. So you have some interesting learning from games. It's really casual, so people are like, yeah, let's play game, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, whatever. So that has the power to basically bring a lot of people.
Okay.
And if from that you can find a way to actually explain them and kind of like slowly onboard them basically into like, hey, now there's this part here, this new Web3 component that is interesting because X, Y, Z, because you can actually own the different things that you do, and so you can actually, I don't know, exchange it with your friend because now you can, or you can actually trade it, which is another topic. But this is something like to also like push all these gamers to be like, hey, now you actually own everything, and because you have like kind of like a large variety of actions that you can do that were not possible before, and so it's a good onboarding to the space. I wouldn't recommend to push like really hard on that, like, hey, you need to know everything about Web3 and all that, to still keep it somehow private, and it's just like really advanced users that are like, okay, I want to explore more and understand more, and then onboard them to that. But I think, yeah, games in general always have been like a really good foundation to bring people. That's why also like even like any businesses that are not game related, they try to gamify their experience all the time. That tells everything. You have games on every platform, even like a standard e-commerce website, they will gamify some stuff. It's because that's what people are looking for. They want to have fun while discovering a product, discovering a technology, discovering anything. And so yeah, I really see like more like, I mean, there is also like real like well-done games where you play in your console, sitting in your sofa and all that, but there is also like a new type of games that is coming, like also Quest, for example, like system where like you will gamify your audience, you will try to engage with them, and this, I think, it's a big part that we have like a massive impact, because then it can target like pretty much any type of products and businesses.
I agree, definitely agree with you, and we could talk about that like 30 minutes about how to gamify with the blockchain technology. But if you could have the chance to talk to a public figure, anyone you have in mind, and try to explain to him, her, what is Web3, who would you have in mind specifically?
Okay.
Could be the one you admire the most. It could be the one you want to aspire.
My mom first, I would say. She still, even after 10 years in the space, she still doesn't figure it out. Not necessarily the most famous woman and all that. No, I would love to really actually like sit down with some big CEOs, like, I don't know, like Bill Gates and all these people that have like a massive impact. Because if these people can see it, they can actually really share this vision, and I'm sure they would be really interested with that. And really try to convince them, like, okay, forget about all the hype that is happening, forget about all that, just go in for the tech, for what it's good for. And yeah, I think that would be some interesting people to really try to convince. But after also, I would say, like, in general, would love to sit with some of the leaders in the space in Web3 to also actually explore how we can bring these other people in. So yeah, I would say I don't have like a single figure in mind that makes sense.
But the most powerful people to convince and to see the big picture and to go all in that direction.
Yeah.
Cool, awesome. One prediction for 2025 around Web3? So it could be blockchain, crypto, the infrastructure. What will it be on your side?
For me, and that's the stuff that's why I'm really kind of like bullish on the space right now, is the fact that you have application that's you don't know it's blockchain. And I know it sounds weird to say that, like, oh, the best thing that will happen is actually that nothing happened for the end user and they don't know about that. Yeah. But that would be the best thing to actually onboard like a lot of users and to really start to basically explain them about Web3 and all that. So really like having like onboarding, like completely seamless onboarding for users. They don't even know they have a wallet. They can connect their wallet later on or things like that. They don't even know they have tokens, they have NFTs and everything. And so keep it like really simple for the user, so like that they can play, they can use the product they are joining, and then later on they're like, okay, now I like this product, I like this game, I like this solution, and now I have this extra feature, basically similar to an extra feature you will have everywhere, and this extra feature is actually powered by Web3, and it actually completely makes sense to have that.
Yeah, we start to be in an age where we want to promote blockchain as much as possible without talking about anything around blockchain. So
Yeah.
totally agree with you.
Yeah, this is a tricky part because you are like, hey, we have this cool tech. It's like similar to a company that would do AI, and they will want to push AI like a lot, rather than pushing why they actually use AI. And so this is really the part that I see is definitely changing. There's definitely work to do on that, but you don't need to push the tech. The tech is useless. What you need to push is like how you use the tech and why using this tech actually solve a specific problem. And I think that's the stuff that right now we are getting there to really stop about like, hey, we use blockchain, we use Web3 technology and all that, but no, we use ownership and we make sure you own everything. We use control, so the user actually has the control on everything they are doing. All the things like that we actually start to sell the value of it rather than the it.
Okay, super. No, super interesting. Thanks a lot, Anthony, for all of that. Super cool to see also how long you have been in the industry and where you are right now and where you position yourself in the world you see for the future. So thanks again for being in the podcast and wish you the best.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great. Always a pleasure.
Thanks.